Should you dirty bulk? That's what we're going to find out today. I recently just finished up a huge dirty bulk that took me almost a year, and I just finished up with the cut. So I've already lost everything that I gained on the dirty bulk. So here's the proof right here, okay? So we're back to lean, but we're going to find out in this video, what is a dirty bulk? Should you dirty bulk? How did I do mine? Would I do it again? And you're going to see the results. You're going to see everything that I gained, how fat I got, and I have some before and pictures from way before the bulk, and have some pictures from post cut and numbers and all the breakdowns and everything. So we're going to go through this sick PowerPoint presentation that I made, because that's just what I do, because I care about you guys. So we're going to go through what's a dirty bulk. We're going to go through my results, pros and cons, should you dirty bulk. Okay, so what is a dirty bulk? So when I say a dirty bulk, I'm talking about a true gross surplus of calories. So my dirty bulk was 4,000 calories a day for the most of it. For the first 5 months, it was about a 10-month bulk. So for the first 5 months, I was really diligent about hitting 4,000 calories every single day, and I made sure I did it every day. And after that first 5 months, once I figured out how much food it actually takes, which is it's actually an absurd amount. Once I figured out that amount, then I didn't really count it as well, as diligently in the last 5 months, but I still made sure I was overeating. I'm talking about eating everything. Cakes, chips, candy, cookies, everything. Smash burger, double bacon brisket burgers. I was eating everything. It was amazing. So yeah, a dirty bulk is just gross surplus of calories, eating every single thing you can. What I found on my dirty bulk is that, and it's probably just bulking in general, but this was my first real bulk at all. So I found that consistency was super important, and I came up with something that I'm going to call the 5-day rule. And I'm sure somebody's going to be like, that's not very science-based. Does it look like I care if it's science-based or not? No, I don't. Okay? So this is what I'm calling the 5-day rule. And I feel like I didn't really see a lot of the results of the bulk, or I didn't really feel the benefits until I was on that bulk, until I was in that surplus for 5 days. So I had to be in a good surplus for that 5 days at least before I really feeling like I was adding the mass, and I felt like that I was getting that extra recovery, just getting all the benefits of the bulk. And I felt like just missing one day, which did not happen a lot. So just missing one singular day, I feel like it brought me back probably 2 days of progress in the bulk. And when I say missing a day, what I mean low calories, right? So things went, whatever happened, and maybe I could only get 2,500 or around there. I feel like that set me back almost 2 days, and I had to push back into that bulk status for the 5 days before I really started getting back to those benefits again. So my basic strategy for bulking, just eat everything in sight, right? Go hard in the paint. I just basically ate everything I could find. And a lot of people, once you start actually counting the calories, you'll be surprised as to how much food it actually takes. So 1,000 calories, that's that's a dozen eggs and 2 pieces of toast with butter on it, right? So it's a lot of food. And so my strategy was to do 4 1,000 calorie meals per day. And so just, breakfast, early lunch, late lunch, and then dinner. And then any snacking I did in between was just kind of bonus calories thrown on top, right? It was bonus recovery. That's what I said. So a box of cookies would be this is extra. I'm going to be extra recovered from these cookies. So that was my basic strategy. My training routine pretty much stayed consistent through essentially the whole thing. I do a 4-day split. So I do chest and then legs and then arms and then back. So it's like a 4-day split. And then on the 5th day, I just restart again. I take rest days every so often. In this 10-month bulk period, I probably had 3 days off, probably like 3 or 4 rest days in the 10 months. So and I went hard, right? I went hard in the paint. It's not science-based. He went to failure. Yeah, I went to failure a lot. And I did a lot of reps, and I did a lot of sets, and I sweat a lot, and I wanted to throw up. And it's not science-based. I do not care. But it felt good. So that was my training. My sleep and naps, I really tried to focus on sleep, making sure I was getting 8 hours, at a minimum. And I tried to take naps when I could. So especially when I was going hard, like it was like a really crazy leg day or something, I would eat a lot and try to catch like an hour snoozer during the day. So I get a full night's sleep and just lay on the couch and see if I could pass out a little bit. My lifting background, I'm not a new lifter by any means. Like I said, this was my first bulk. I started lifting in 2010. Yeah, 2010. So I've been lifting for about 15 years. And so I started lifting when I was getting ready to join the military. The whole time, when I graduated high school, I think I weighed like 125 pounds. So I was a very skinny guy in high school. Pretty much my whole time in the military, I fluctuated anywhere between 170 and 180, 160, 180, like kind of in that range. Like there was in 2015, like I got like a little fatter. I didn't get like big. I like just got big in the waist. Had to get new pants. So that's kind of like, that's kind of my background. I've been going pretty, there's been different times, different periods of time when I go lighter, go easier. I would say from 2019 to 2021, like I was just kind of like going through the motions with lifting, not really lifting that hard, I think. And that was one of the big things, like right when I first started this bulk, I also greatly increased the intensity and like how hard I'm actually pushing my sets and everything. I used to be you could say I was a lift to an RPE of 7.5 with, what's that stupid word they use for reps in the tank, whatever. Reps and I had an RIR of 3 with a RPE 7.21. So that was pretty much me before, and it got me nowhere. So that's my background. Slide. Okay. So this is the starting point, okay? We're getting into the juice, the meaty juice and potatoes. Here, let me move. Okay, that's back. Put that back. Okay, we're going to move me down. I'm going to hide right here. Okay, so I'm going to hide up here. Can you guys see me still? Okay, so I'm hiding down here. Okay, so we have me back in 2020. Again, you can see, I was like a 170-ish, right? 175, same thing, 2021, just kind of chilling. Not really paying attention to my diet. Like I was eating clean-ish, but not sticking to any sort of diet plan, not paying attention to my calories, not trying to bulk. There was one period before this, in the beginning of, 2019, there was an incident with one of my friends. I lost a friend and I dieted down, not like really on purpose, but I got down to like 145 at one point, and I was pretty lean and pretty shreddy. Okay, pretty abidocious. All right, the veins were veining, but this is pretty much where I was at 2022, and this is pretty much just before I started getting into bulk city. Okay, so 2022, I'm sitting at around 175-ish, about. Okay, slide. Okay, I'm gonna hide me again. Okay, so this is results 1 of 2. March of 2024, I finally cracked into the 200-pound club. It was glorious, right? It felt so good that first time the scale had hit 200. Previously, before I started this bulk, the heaviest I'd ever been was 185. Pretty much 185. So, even an extra 15 pounds of, at this point in March, I had already been like purposely, intentionally eating 4,000 calories per day. I mean, we're talking three months in. So, I was going pretty hard in the paint, lifting hard and eating like crazy. And then this picture in the middle, this is April. It's like mid-April. I went on this work trip. This is the peanut butter and milk era because I wanted to remember to tell you the story. I was so dedicated to getting those calories in that I had to drive up to Iowa. Yeah, I had to drive up to Iowa for this work trip. And I was so dedicated to hitting my calories, and, I had to drive pretty much the whole day. So, it's kind of hard to find decent food, well, especially while you're on the road. And I didn't want to stop a billion times. I stopped at a gas station and bought a jar of peanut butter, and I seriously sat in my truck driving, and I just ate a spoonful at a time. I just ate a jar of peanut butter because I was like, I am hitting 4,000 calories today. I don't care what it is. If it's peanut butter, like, that's fine, right? It's dirty bulk. That's what you do on a dirty bulk. You go crazy, right? You go hard into paint. So I went hard into paint, and I sucked down an entire jar of peanut butter on that drive. It was glorious. By the time I got home from that trip, I was 215. So really, I went on the trip with I really just didn't want to lose a bunch of weight. I was getting up to 212, just cracked 211, and it was like a 2-week-long trip, and I was just eating everything in sight and drinking tons of Gatorade and stuff because I didn't want to lose. I thought I was going to lose weight, but I did not lose weight. I gained a couple pounds. The whole milk era, it was I went crazy with the recovery. Okay, there was when I was up in that work trip, we were basically stomping around in the woods all day looking for old World War II bombs and stuff. Spoiler, we didn't find any, so it was whatever. But anyways, we're doing some bomb clearance, and we're stomping around in the woods all day. We're cutting down trees and doing all sorts of craziness, and it's pretty taxing, right? So we're spending 10, 11 hours in the woods, and it's very taxing, and it's burning up a lot of calories. And then I would leave that job site. On the way back, there was a Subway. I would stop at Subway, and I would pound a footlong on the rest of my drive home. So I was a double meat Italian, eat a footlong with 2 cookies and a large lemonade. And I would crush all that. And then I would get home and go and do my workout. And so I'm getting into, I don't remember, one of the days I did legs, and I was just dying. I had so much fatigue, and I was so sore, and I knew that if I didn't get a lot of if I didn't just maximize the recovery, I was gonna be sick, have a fever. My nervous system was gonna shut down. I was gonna die if I didn't maximize my recovery. So I went to the store after I'd eaten dinner, and I bought a quart of chocolate milk, a quart of chocolate milk. And I locked myself in the shower, and I was like, look, I'm not getting out of the shower until I finish this entire jug of chocolate milk. And I sat in that tub and I just drank chocolate milk. And it was pretty crazy. It was, I did feel sick. I wanted to throw up, but, held everything down. And, and I felt fine the next day, right? I just pounded. Must have been so many calories. It was insane. And then I slept, had a good night's sleep. Boy, I was feeling good the next day. Okay. It was beautiful. I'm going to get into I made a pros and cons list. I'm going to get into it later. But one of the pros of dirty bulking is that you look like you lift when you're wearing clothes. And this air right here was the first time that I noticed people started saying things, people start noticing you, your size. I'm 5'9", for example, right? Or for just so you know. So I'm 5'9", so 215 pounds is that's kind of imposing, right? So this was the first time that I felt like people were starting to notice my frame. And I was walking into Planet Fitness in the parking lot, and this is the first time something like this happened. This dude yells across the parking lot, just goes, "Hey buddy, you got any more steroids?" And I was like, dude, that was cool. That felt nice. That felt really nice. Okay, so now we're going to get into the good stuff. Okay, you are about to see where I was peak bulk. Okay, get ready for the bigness. Boom. Right there. Okay, so this was some family pictures that we had gotten done in October. And again, remember I did 4,000, strict 4,000 a day for 5 months. And then 5 months of just kind of pounding everything. I was feeling pretty good at this 220. I felt, just kind of strong, like an ox. I felt great. I felt like I looked pretty good in clothes. My legs were just felt massive. Like I said, these are some family pictures we got done. Nothing fit. I had to, I have to buy all new clothes because my legs don't fit into any of my pants, and my chest and my arms doesn't fit into anything. And then this was peak bigness. Okay, so beginning of February 2025, I got up to 235. The highest number I saw on a scale was 237, but this day that I took this picture, I was 235, right? So I was fat, right? I was a fatty. Okay, you can see it in my cheeks. I was a tubber. Okay, I was a lardy boy, right? And that was kind of one of the reasons why I stopped bulking. I really had no goal. I was just I just want to see how far I can take it, and just let it rip. I had to stop because one day I just woke up and it was I had a terrible night's sleep, and I was laying in bed mouth breathing, just fat, and I just felt like crap. And I was all right, boys, that's it. We're shutting her down. Okay. We're shutting down. We need to go. Take me back. Take me back to Skinny Gang. But it was absolutely insane. I'll get into some of the numbers a little bit later, but there was a day I went into the gym, and it wasn't even chest day. Some other guy, one of my other buddies there, had 225 on the bar, and I was let me see what I can do. And I just went over there and I did 21 reps. And for me, that was that blew my mind, right? That was absolutely insane, because the first time I did 225, it took me 5 years of training to do 225 for the first time. And so I just went in there and I did 21 reps. I just had to be fat, turns out. It was insane. Okay. So those are my results, and we're going to get into some so now we can kind of see, hold on, I'm going to hide. Now we can kind of see the timeline of everything, right? So I'm ducking down so you can see, right? This is when I started, right? So I'm about, a cool 180. in the middle of March of 2022. 2024, 2024, 2025, we get into the peak bulkiness of 235. And this process takes me almost a year, maybe a little bit more than a year. Because I had started to eat more before I started like bulking. Like I was like, all right, we're starting to push the food a little bit, but I think I started 2024, like January 1st, I think I was probably like 190. So from January 2024 all the way through 2024 into February of 2025, so we're talking like 45 pounds. And then I cut it all off. The dieting is the easy part for me, right? Because you guys I've been lean pretty much my whole life. So the dieting part was really easy. I had to figure out like some of the macros things, because this was the first time I like intentionally dieted down. But to be honest, it was pretty easy to cut the weight off. Like dieting is easy for me. The hard part was the bulk. So did this, and then boom, back down to 185. And I'm going to go up again. It's time to start the next bulk. But this is where I stopped my cut. And this was just a few days ago. I think today's the 5th. Yes, this was like the 3rd maybe. So it was just a couple days ago. Looking shreddy, feeling good. I got, veins popping out everywhere. Feeling solid. Okay. Let's get down to the next one. Okay. Finally, I can get off of the ceiling there. So I just want to talk a little bit about training during the bulk and kind of how my training was. My weights went up very, very quickly. Especially, I noticed the most in my squat. Over this course of time, I think I put more than 100 pounds on my back squat. It just seemed like every week, every 4 or 5 days, I went to squat. It would be easier. I would just throw more weight on there and it would be fine. I did work in low reps quite a bit intentionally, which I also hadn't really done before. Like obviously everybody tries to do like a 1 rep max, right? But I'd never really on a weekly or regular basis really tried to work in the 3s and the 4s and the 5 rep ranges or 2s, try a lot of doubles. I didn't really try that much before, and it seemed to be really effective. A lot of the reps that I did, I kind of did for the most part, right? I changed it up a lot, but for the most part, I would do 3 sets of an exercise. Oh, that's too many. That's not science-based. Okay. So what I would do is like 3 sets per exercise. And I would do a lot of like hit a weight. I would do a weight that I would hopefully do like about 14 reps with, and then add more weight and try to get to like 8-ish. And then I would add even more weight and try to do like a double or a triple. So in the same day, like on a chest day, I'm training, you could say higher rep, right? 12 to 16. And I'm also doing a set of 3, right? A set of 3 or 4. And this is a huge contrast to what I found with training during my cut. I found that training during my cut, I really had to reduce the number of sets per exercise because I just get gassed so quickly while I'm cutting, right? So if I do 3 sets of my first exercise, which is, let's say, incline bench, right? If I do 3 sets of incline bench on a cut, by the time I go and do flat bench, I'm toast. So instead on my cut, I'm doing like less working sets so that I can add more variation. Like I'll do 1 working set of incline, then 1 working set of flat bench, and then 1 working set of like an overhead press or, something like that, mix it up. But when I was on the beastly 4,000 calorie a day diet of dirty bulking, it would feel like I would do a working set to failure. And then not only was I not gassed, I a lot of times felt like I could do even more on the next set, right? Like I'd just rest a little bit and I'd do even more. I'd add weight on and I would do the same number of reps. Like it was stupid. The volume that I could handle with eating all those calories, it was like huge difference. Like I said before, did chest, legs, arms, back, repeat, no rest days. It's kind of a fib, right? So there's like 3 or 4 rest days that year. Yeah. 3 rest days a year. That's correct. You heard that correctly. Boom. Slide me. Beer me the next slide. So hold on. Let me get out of the way here. Jesus. Okay. So my results pre-cut. Okay. Peak body weight was 237. Height, 69 inches. Nice. Okay. My arm size got up to 18 inches on the arm. Now my arm was very round, right? It was not detailed. Really, there was no like details there. To be honest, I mean, you can see like a vein in the picture, but it really wasn't even very vascular. There you could see like the indent of a tricep on the back of my arm. But there wasn't a whole lot of detail there. It was big. It was 18-inch arm, but I don't know. Like I generally think that my arms right now are 16-inch. And I think my arm right now might look better than a big 18, if that makes sense. Here, look. Okay. All right. That's it. Oh, we got it. You got to make sure we get it. Yeah, the angles, whatever. Yeah, you get it. Yeah, looking shred-tastic. Get that back on. Okay, so my arms were, it was nice because I just ripped shirts. Like I literally ripped shirts. Okay, it was nice. I ripped pants as well, though. Okay, so my waist got pretty hefty. Okay, I was a husky boy. Got up to 36, 37-inch pants. I had to buy all new pants. Like I had just before I had started the bulk, I bought this suit, and for whatever reason, and then I didn't put on the suit for like a year, and then I tried putting the suit on at the end of my bulk, and there was just absolutely zero possibility of those pants even getting close to being worn. Like they were like halfway up my thighs. It just not happening. My thigh/quad flexed was 28 inches around, which I feel like that was pretty decent. As far as like my physique goes, I have a lot of negatives. I have a lot of things that aren't the greatest, but I feel like my legs are actually okay. And there is a picture of my legs in here. Okay, I didn't hide them. So my biggest bench I got to, I finally hit 315, which was a very exciting day for me. And the first time I hit 315, I did it for 2 reps, and so I just kind of like banged it out. I went for a third, didn't happen. I did, like I said, did the 225 for 21 reps. A squat, got up to 425 for 2 reps. So it's okay. It's not like I'm not like a power lifter or anything. I'm 35 years old. Okay, so I'm an old man. Okay, I got kids, right? But I'm doing my best. So yeah, we got the squat up to 425, which felt nice. Being able to put 4 plates on, that was pretty cool. My deadlift has always sucked. Like I said, it took me like 5 years of training to do my first bench press of 225. It took probably 6 or 7 years for me to do my first 315 deadlift. I sucked, okay? I'm working on it. I'm trying. I'm not perfect. I'm close. Very close. But not perfect. Slide. And here's my results post-cut. My peak low body weight. 185, 69 inches tall. Nice. Like I said, I got my arms down to 16-inch. Waist, we're back down to a 32-inch waist. So my arms went 2 inches down. My pant size went 6 inches down. My thigh / quad, like flexing my leg, is down to a 24. So bench, I don't know. I probably couldn't do a 315 right now, right? Because as soon as I started cutting, like I lost a bunch of strength. Like things, they went down. It is what it is. So I probably couldn't do 315 right now. Whatever. Bench, yeah, I can do 225 for 12 reps now at this body weight, which is, and that's like, three, 4 working sets in is when I do flat bench. And so, yeah, I just try to like knock it out for as many reps as I can. So I can get 12 reps. It's not bad. I can squat 315 for 9 reps and deadlift 315 for 9 reps. So that's where I'm at. Okay. And then here's my leg. Okay. So I do have legs. They do exist. I always wear pants to the gym. So, I don't like wearing shirts to the gym. Normally I wear like all baggy shirts and, everything's covered anyways. So, yeah, that's my leg. It's looking okay. To be honest, I liked my legs more when I was bulked up because I feel like my legs were just massive. Like no pants could hold my legs. It was like if my legs could fit into pants, the waist was like I had to buy 38-inch pants to get my legs to fit, but my waist was like a 36. So like the pants were loose around the waist, but just like tight around the legs. It was good. And I got some numbers here to show you how my weight dropped and about how long it took for me to do my cut. So I started cutting right near the beginning of February. And so this is beginning of June, February, March, April, May, June. Okay, so 4 months. 4 months to come down. Now this 30 pounds down is counting from here. It's not counting from the 237 where I was at. So 235 to 185, that's 50 pounds. Okay, so 4 months, 50 pounds down. It was very easy for me to lose weight right in the beginning of the cut. It just started shredding off, but I kind of messed up. I jumped in and immediately started doing I think I was doing 1,700 calories a day. And in this entire period, I'm tracking every single calorie every day. So starting at the cut, I got really aggressive with my calorie counting, and I've been counting everything since February. So I pretty much jumped immediately into 1,700 calories a day, and my weight just started flying down, and my strength just started plummeting. I didn't really, my protein was probably like 140 grams a day. And here's the thing. Everybody tells you, everybody says, at least a pound per body weight, right? A pound per lean mass body weight, or at least 1 gram per pound of body weight, right? To be honest, I thought it was BS. I thought it was total crap. I thought people were just like, I thought it was bro science. It turns out it might actually be real science. I made a couple of changes around here. And one of those changes was switching from about 150 grams of protein per day to about 200 grams per day. And trying to at least get 200 grams per day. And I'm going to be honest, I noticed a huge difference. I felt like my physique immediately improved. I felt like my energy levels got better. I feel like I got stronger in the gym. I feel like everything started clicking a little more. So that might actually be real. Might actually try it. And here I kind of had to do like, this little bump right here, this is when I did a reset. Like I said, I had kind of I cut too hard, too fast, down to like 1700. I couldn't go anywhere from there. So I reset and did 2200 for a couple weeks to try to like reset my metabolism. Went back higher protein, back down to like 1800 calories a day. And then I added in 30 minutes of cardio a day via a Peloton bike. So added cardio, more protein, reset calories, and then the fat loss started going, it started going a lot better. I could have kept going with it, but it's just one of those things where, I feel like I'm not going to compete, at least anytime soon, or I don't plan on it. And I want to get big again, right? So I got lean. I lost a lot of my belly fat here. Take a look. All right, so you can see, I don't really have, there's like some loose skin, but not really much belly fat, okay? So like, I'm pretty decently lean, so I feel fine throwing some, we can throw some mass back on it. This is the leanest I've ever been in my life, except maybe when I was a baby, but I don't remember because I was a baby. So, all right. So now we're going to go through the pros and the cons of dirty bulking. Okay. Here, we're going to move me again. Okay. Pro number 1 of dirty bulking, strong. You were just going to be so strong. Holy crap, was I strong. It's just every day I was stronger than the previous day. I felt like there was no amount of volume or intensity that I could not recover from. It was crazy. The difference that gross amount of calories makes is it's crazy. Second pro, people move out of the way when you walk down the sidewalk. And this kind of goes in conjunction with this third pro, which is that once you get above like 210, 215 in that range, and especially 220, 225, 230, everybody calls you boss or big dog. Everybody. Well, we're walking down, we're walking somewhere, pushing the stroller. The family's walking down the sidewalk, and this guy's coming the other way. He's like, whoa, big man. I'm just like, well, okay, hey, dude, I'm just like chilling. I'm just walking, I'm just pushing the baby, right? It's no big. I'm just chilling, bro. He's like, whoa, big dog. Gotta watch out for this guy. So it's very cool. Yeah, when you're just that large and imposing. It's pretty awesome. Again, recovery is insane. You can recover from basically anything. Another pro, you can eat whatever you want, right? So, you ate your meal for the day, and now maybe you want to eat a box of cookies, right? Or you want to eat a bowl of cookie crunch, Cinnamon Toast Crunch or Cookie Crisp, and you want to use heavy cream instead of milk, right? Go for it, bro. Like, the world is your oyster. Just eat it all. I used to, like I told you about the honey and the milk and everything. I used to keep a thing of honey in my truck, and I would just, as soon as I left the gym, I would just guzzle honey. I would just mainline it directly into my face. Containers of honey. We ate it all. Okay. Endless smoked double bacon brisket burgers from Smash Burger. Those things are so good. Okay. I could eat so many of these. There was a couple times, and I think they're like 1,300 calories for one. There was a couple times where I ate one, and I enjoyed it so much that I would go back inside like a fatty, and I would eat another one. I would order a second endless smoked double bacon brisket burger. Every day of the cut, I thought about those burgers. That's really all I could think about. Last pro, look like you lift with your clothes on, okay? When you're wearing clothes, it looks like you work out, which is, again, this kind of goes hand in hand with one of the cons, which is that it looks like you don't lift. It looks like you don't lift with your clothes off. Okay? So it is what it is. Do you want to look like, and how often are you really walking around without a shirt on, right? Almost never. Just don't go to the beach, right? So you can either look like, or just wear clothes. Just wear a shirt at the beach. You can look like you lift pretty much all the time, or like now, right now, I don't even look like I work out, right? I look like I don't even go to the gym. I'm only 185 pounds. I look small, right? I was working out with one of my buddies in the gym the other day, and he said something about wanting to know how the cut was going. I was like, yeah, dude, it's going good, we're almost done. He was like, oh, dude, I didn't know you got abs like that, bro. I was like, he was like, oh, you're actually shredded. Yeah, but nobody knows that, right? Nobody knows when you're 185 or 180. Right? Nobody knows that you work out. Nobody can tell. When I started going to that gym, I think I was 220, about 220 when I started going to that gym, right? So start going to that gym. That's how, hey, Frank the Tank's here. Yeah. What's up, guys? Let's throw some plates around, right? Let's do some clanging and banging. So other con, being fat, right? You're going to be fat. And it is what it is. You're going to be laying there in bed, mouth breathing. One of the times I went to the doctor for something, and this is one near the end of the bulk. One of the reasons why I stopped bulking as well. Nurse was like, do you have any history of high blood pressure? Because your blood pressure is really bad. And I was like, oh, okay, that's not good. I mean, it was like 8 a.m. I was like, I've only had like 1,500 calories today and like a Monster and a C4, so my blood pressure should be fine. Poor skin. My face broke out all the time. I got a couple things going on now, but my skin was so bad when I was bulking. It was like my face was breaking out everywhere, probably because of the milk. To be honest, I think it was I drank a lot of milk, ate a lot of cereal. I would crush some Cookie Crisp with honey, and then a little bit of heavy cream. Whew. Tell you what, that's a good 700 calorie meal right there. Poor cardiovascular health. It looks like you don't lift when you take off your shirt. So as soon as you remove the shirt, you no longer look like you work out anymore. Hard to get the food down. Okay, at a certain point, like it was just like so much work to get. Like it's such a high volume of food, right? That's a lot of food. And then also, you need a lot of water, right? So I was drinking at least a gallon of water today. Try to keep it about a gallon and a half of water per day with electrolytes. And it's so much stuff to put inside of your body. It was hard. Like I had asked somebody, I was like, dude, how am I supposed to eat and drink all the water? Like my body was just like so full of food. It sucked. It was rough. But we got through it. We pushed through. I kept eating. It is what it is. And then kind of the last con is that has to be consistent, or it doesn't really seem to work that well, which is kind of like what I was talking about with the 5-day rule, is that it really needs to be, for at least in my perspective, this is how it seemed like it went for me, right? It really seemed like it needed to be every single day, or else you're just not going to get the benefits from it. So, for example, there's been plenty of times in my previous life where I'm like, eat like crazy 4 days out of the week or 5 days out of the week. And then weekends, sitting around, not really, I'm just kind of goofing off. It's very easy for me to just not eat the whole day. And those days are you're just not going to see progress on the bulk by doing that. So, if you're one of these, if you're kind of like a younger guy, you're kind of in the skinny phase, right? And you're not pushing the food every day. You got to be. If you're just going hard during the week and then kind of slacking off during the weekends, yeah, it's just not going to do anything. Slide. So, now we get to the final question. Should you dirty bulk? And to answer the question of should you dirty bulk, we're going to have to ask a couple questions first. Are you lean, or are you just skinny, or are you fat? If you're fat right now, don't bulk at all. Right? Like if you're 30-ish plus body fat percentage, maybe do a little dieting first, and then let's get on the gain train together, brother. I'll buy you a ticket. Let's go. But if you're in the zone where you're ready to start bulking, are you lean or are you skinny? So there's a lot of guys out there who are, the lean is law, brother. Lean is law. And they're just small. You're just small. And that's fine. It's okay. It is what it is. But it's just like, underdeveloped muscles and, just not really that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just underdeveloped muscles. You just don't have that muscularity and muscle maturity, I guess they call it, right? If you're lean and you don't have muscles popping everywhere, then you're just skinny, right? So if you are skinny, you should bulk, right? Fat, dirty bulk. If you're lean, meaning that you have gained muscle and then removed the fat, because that's the whole point of the bulk, right? Is to gain the muscle and have some of it show through. So if you're just skinny, go to town, dirty bulk, right? Are you under 200 pounds? That's skinny, right? So if you're under 200 pounds, you're small. You're skinny, little guy. And that's me right now, and I hate it. But have you always been under 200 pounds, right? So if you're under 200 pounds, but you're you dieted down to get there, don't dirty bulk, right? If it took you a ton of work to get under 200 because you're just kind of naturally a bigger guy, don't dirty bulk. That's not for you. This is for the skinny guys. This is the cure to skinniness. I have found the cure to skinniness, and I'm here to spread the cure to the world. I graduated high school. I was 125 pounds. Okay? Boys, this is the cure. You're welcome. Put me in PubMed. Would I do it again? Okay. Would I dirty bulk again? Really? So there has to be some context around this. Okay? So would I dirty bulk again if I had not dirty bulked in the first place? If I was still small? Yeah. Knowing everything I know now, yes, I would 100% again dirty bulk, right? But now that I've, gained, I feel like you tell me, right? You tell me. Let's go back up and look. Well, move me out of the way. You tell me, okay? Was it worth it? right? Was the dirty bulk worth it? Did I, I'm only 5 pounds more right now than I am 3 years ago, or what? Yeah, 3 years ago. Was it worth it? I think so. I think I gained a lot of shape. A lot of volume and a lot of good features I think are popping out now. So I think it was worth it. So would I do it again? Yeah. Yeah, of course I would. Don't be dumb. That's not science-based. You don't need a 4,000 calories a day. Shut up. Just do it. Okay? Just do it. You can lose the fat. It'll be easy. Right? But yeah, now that I've done it, lost all the weight, next time I would probably go about it a little bit more intelligently, with a little bit more, this next bulk I might be a little more scientific about it. Or maybe I'll just go ham again. Maybe I'll just do another dirty bulk. Again, see what happens. I don't know. Has anyone done that ever? Has anyone tested what happens if you do a double dirty bulk? Maybe I will. I don't know. Stick around and we'll find out.